Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a class. So first we're going to right click the project, click add class, and make sure that you select class, and we're going to rename it to rectangle.cs, click add, and now we have this rectangle.cs in addition to the program.cs. So we have two types of classes. Program.cs contains the main method, which is going to be the main entry point of the program. The rectangle.cs is going to be our blueprint for rectangle object. So let's start with the class rectangle. We're going to create some class members, which includes some fields, some properties, and then some methods. Now, a field is nothing more than just a variable that pertains directly to the nature of the class. When you talk about a rectangle, then we have length, width, for example, and because of the idea of encapsulation in object-oriented programming, we want to make sure that we secure sensitive data. For example, the fields or the variables that pertain directly to the nature of the class. That's why we need to specify that these fields or these variables should be private only. We're going to make it double and L for length, semicolon, and we can add W for length, for width as well, and semicolon. So now we have two fields, and both of them are private, meaning no other programs, no other methods outside this class can access these fields. And now we're going to have something called a property, which is going to be used to get and set the value to the fields. And that's why they need to be public, so that other methods from other classes can make use these properties. And they should have the same data type as the fields, but with a different name. So we're going to call it length. And because it's a property, it's not a method, you're not going to put open and close parentheses right after the name. Now within a property, we have two accessors. We have set and get. We're going to start with set. And as the name implies, this set accessor is going to be used by the program to set the value to the field. That's why we need to specify the field length equals to the keyword value. This keyword value is going to know automatically whatever the incoming value that we want to assign to the field. And then we have get. Now again, as the name implies, get is for getting the value. It's for other methods in other class to get the value of the field. That's why this accessor, this get, needs to return the value of the field. And we're gonna copy this and do the same thing for width. Now the field should be the W. Okay, so now we have two fields, L and W, and then we have two properties, one for length, one for width. For length, we have two accessors, get and set. The same thing for the width property, we have set and get. For read-only property, we're going to create one, public, double. We're going to create one for area. Now, as the name implies, it's read-only. That's why you should only have get. Basically, so that other methods in other classes can get the value of this area from this class when you have an object. Return, and you should use the property So as you can see, the difference between this area property and the length and width above is that now this area property is read only. That's why we only have gets inside this property. We don't have to have sets because we are not going to allow other classes, other methods in other classes to set a value to this area directly. Now we're going to create a method. We're going to make it public so that other methods in other classes can use this method. We're going to start with the public. And because this method is supposed to be used by an object, this method then must be non-static, meaning we're going to skip the word static here. We're going to have public and then void for get input. So in this method, we're just going to simply display a string, enter a length, and we should use the property same thing for width. So now we are done creating this class. Again, to recap, we have two fields, two variables, which are both private, meaning other methods in other classes cannot get to these fields, cannot get to these variables directly. And now we have two regular properties. We have length and width. Within, we have set and get to work with the values of the fields. And then we have one read-only property for the area. That's why we only have get, so that other classes can get the value of this value length times width from this property. And then we have one non-static method, get input, so that other classes can call this method using an object. Now we're gonna go to the program.cs file now. In this main method, we're gonna have to create an object based on that rectangle class that we just created. To do that, you start with the name of the class rectangle and then your object, the name of your object. I'm gonna name it just the letter O for object, equal new rectangle with open and closed parentheses. Now, this rectangle with open and closed parentheses is called a constructor, a default constructor, and it's a special method that will help you create an object based on a class. Now that we have an object, we're going to use that object to access all those things that we have that we make it public in the template class rectangle. So O dot, as you can see, we have the get input method. Get input, and now we're going to display a simple message. Now, because again, those properties are available only if you use an object. So you need to start with the object dot length, O dot width, O dot area. If you try to use O.L or O.W, the fields, they're not going to be even in pop-up list because they are private. You cannot use it in this class. And if you run it, it's going to ask for a length into a number, let's say 4, and a width, and it's going to display the array. And that's it for this simple demonstration of how to create a class and object. Again, just to recap, this rectangle class is our blueprint for creating an object based on this class. The program.cs with the main method is the type of classes that has the main method, which is going to be the main program. So we have to create an object in this main method to use whatever we want to use from this rectangle class. And that's the end of this video.